Yes!
You know, yesterday I was doing some vault spring cleaning, getting rid of weapons I have no use for, checking the talent trees for weapons I stashed in the vault, and trying to see why I was saving them for in the first place. And I realized I had a lot of decently rolled weapons, but most if not all of them have one thing in common. Their Masterworks were all trash. See, that's what really annoys me about this game. You could get what's considered a perfect rolled weapon, or a god roll, whatever, and the Masterwork is something that does absolutely nothing for the weapon. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all when I say I could never get shotguns and hand cannons with ranged Masterworks. The game always has this bright idea that stability is the way to go. So all the Dust Rock Blues, Retold Tails, and various hand cannons I'm looking for always have amazing perks, but the game keeps giving me stability Masterworks. Now I completely understand that this is just the air quotes simple case of terrible RNG, but that doesn't mitigate the frustration factor of it. And it brings me back to year one, where we could freely reroll the Masterworks of our weapons by simply coughing up some Masterwork cores and legendary shards. Now, the reason why it was harmless for us to be able to freely reroll a weapon's Masterwork is because back in year one, each weapon type had very specific limitations of what stats could be enhanced. In year 2 of D2, all primaries, for example, can roll with Masterworks consisting of range, stability, handling, and reload speed. However, weapons in year 1 were very limited in what Masterworks they could achieve. Again, auto rifles could only roll range, magazine size increase, reload, and handling. Hand cannons could only roll stability, magazine size increase, reload, and handling, and shotguns could only roll stability, reload, and handling. Yeah. Notice that none of these weapons could achieve a Masterwork in their most desired stat. Auto rifles couldn't roll stability, hand cannons and shotguns couldn't roll range. To make matters worse, there were certain Masterworks that would only give you a +5 instead of a +10 in a particular stat, which once again made matters worse. But wait, there's more. You could re-roll a weapon's Masterwork and literally get the same exact Masterwork you just had. So if I was going for range on my auto rifle, but its current Masterwork was handling, I could literally roll handling again. It was infuriating. Bungie was going to the ends of the earth, looking for ways to combat the monotony of the static weapon roll system by giving us the option to enhance our weapons, air quotes, beyond their normal capabilities, instead of getting rid of the static roll weapons system as a whole. Bungie jumped through hoops of fire before they broke down and said, forget it, we're just gonna return random rolls to the culture of the game. Because they eventually realized that what they were doing was a lot more work than simply giving us random rolls on weapons again. Oh yeah, we could also re-roll the stat nature on legendary armor too. For example, this armor is restorative, but I can re-roll it to turn it into a mobile piece of armor or heavy. Now I get why re-rolling armor Masterworks isn't a thing in year 2, and the majority of the reason why is because of the new mod system. If you wanted a bigger number in a particular stat, you could simply slap on a recovery, resilience, or mobility mod. Also, being able to re-roll the Masterwork for armor deprives it of its uniqueness. Physical traits do make a difference, so if this set of armor is big and bulky and cumbersome looking, it should be heavy armor and focus on resilience. But re-rolling it to make it mobility based just doesn't make sense. Then again, that's just my opinion, so if you disagree, that's cool too. Now recently, I thought of a way that we could re-roll Masterworks for weapons. You know there's a little box for infusion, right? The mod slot and the ornament slots on weapons. What if there was a box that was titled Salvage or some similar terminology? When you scroll over the Salvage option, you'd see every other copy of that same weapon currently on your character. So if I'm doing this with my Retold Tail, I would see other Retold Tails that I'm currently carrying. Salvaging another weapon would allow me to take its Masterwork stat and add it to another copy of that same weapon. Ingenius, right? Or I have an even better idea. You know when you're infusing a weapon, but you're using the same exact weapon as the infusion fodder and it only costs glimmer? What if when you're infusing a weapon into a duplicate, a box pops up asking if you want to pay extra to also steal the weapon's Masterwork? Now I feel that this is fair game because you couldn't freely re-roll a weapon's Masterwork like you could in year 1. You'd still have to grind for a throwaway copy with the Masterwork you're looking for and use that as fodder. Bungie's overall endeavor with infusing in year 2 was to make it a meaningful decision, which is why enhancement cores are a part of the infusion economy. However, when it comes to my concept of how we should be able to re-roll weapon Masterworks, I personally don't think that it gets more meaningful than the idea of grinding for a duplicate version of your favorite weapon with a different Masterwork. Now, if there's anyone crazy enough to say that this is a terrible idea, maybe this would be a little bit more realistic if the weapon you wanted to re-roll the Masterwork on was fully Masterwork. Of course, this doesn't apply for curated rolled weapons. If this was possible, I would grind the corrupted Nightfall Strike a million times until I got another Horror's Lease with either stability or range, because my Horror's Lease rolled with reload speed, and that's literally the only thing I dislike about it because all the other perks on it are perfect. Now for armor, There's a very easy solution for that. Bungie could simply bring back glass needles, but it should be a legendary currency this time around. For those of you unfamiliar with glass needles, it was an exotic currency purchased from Xur in D1 that enabled you to re-roll the perks on your exotic armor pieces. However, every perk on that particular armor piece will be completely randomized. I don't think I need to get into how annoying it is that we can't do a single thing about the perks on armor pieces, especially exotic armor. Check this out. I don't think anybody in the world got a worse roll on their geomax stabilizers than I did. I don't want to sound ungrateful because I realize that there are people in this world who still might not have Forsaken exotics yet. But look at this. Mine rolled with nothing useful. Not a single one of these perks would ever be of any significance in PvE for me, and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. In D1, if you've unlocked the year 1 version of an exotic armor piece, you can simply go to the exotic wall and buy the year 2 version of it, provided that you had the materials and currency to afford it. In D2, you could buy any exotic from the collections, but if it's an armor piece, it'll always have significantly less perks on it than it would if you got it out of a drop. I suppose this was Bungie's way of making exotic drops even more worthwhile. As of currently, everybody, I feel that I've said all that needs to be said. So to conclude this, do you think we should be able to reroll weapon Masterworks? Do you think glass needles should return? Drop some ideas in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, drop me a like. If you're new to my neck of the woods, subscribe to the channel for more elite gaming content. But with that being said, 1LHD is over and out. Y'all take it easy.
Yes!